game ahead because they've just been taking down some of the top competition in North America, and they get to play Cloud9 as well next week.
Yeah.
Team Liquid could go through the who's who of NA and be like, no, we're here to stay and kick some people's asses. NRG have been floundering all over the place. They played Immortals close way back when, but they've also dropped to teams like Impulse, and actually getting that team into shape, this could be very scary, but NRG just keeps staying this middle of the pack squad.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you just look way farther back, NRG started 3-0, Team Liquid started 0-3. So if you look at it from there, NRG's been 4-8 in their last 12, and then Team Liquid would be 8-4 in their last 12. That is also a big amount of momentum.
Definitely is. So we get ourselves into the picks and bans. Jin banned away from Piglet. He did not play it yesterday, but you know what? That's fine. He'll get pushed down to the Lucian. He's so happy to play all the time regardless. No Nidalee for Dardoch either, but that does leave his Lee Sin up, which was already really, really strong. And it also makes me ask, what is NRG going to first pick? I'm thinking Nautilus, honestly, based on where the bans are going.
Yeah.
Poppy, a top-tier top laner that isn't named Nautilus, and Nidalee, like the best jungler by most teams' considerations. They could ban the Nautilus away here, or they could try to counterpick with Trundle.
Yeah, I wonder if NRG is picking themselves into too much of a corner here, because Nidalee and Poppy are both champions that they've used to pretty good success in the past, but they either don't trust themselves on it anymore, or they're just not, or they have, you know, another totally first pick in mind. Nautilus is the smart choice in my opinion, especially Impact. Having some, he likes playing tanks for the team, so to speak, even though many people think he should be a harder carry. We'll see what they end up doing, though, as he's deciding to cycle through. It's got to be Nautilus.
Right, he hovered over it, and then they're like, guys, we have a minute to discuss this pick and ban phase. Stop hovering the chamber we're going to pick. Make them wonder about it. He just picked...
Oh, crap. Let's hover Ashe.
Let's hover a Kali and a Nivea as though I didn't just,
off the scent.
Panically hover away from the champion I'm going for. It's one thing I really like about Cloud9. They never hover anything until it's the time to pick the champion in, which I think is actually very smart. You never give away anything. But also, I think it's really wise to take this time to discuss, okay, with these bans, right? They just gain information. Fiora, Graves, cleared off the table. What is our next round of picks? What comp are we going for now that we know we are getting Nautilus? And taking that time, I think, is very, very valuable, because time is a very limited resource that you should maximize to get through champs like properly.
Yeah, well, there's also the counter argument that Team Liquid would still be reacting to NRG's ban, so the faster you can lock in your first pick, the less time they have to react with picks 1 and 2. I mean, that's why you don't hover the thing you're going to choose, because then you're giving them a head start.
There's even teams who would hover something they would want the other team to pick, like, hey, take Lee Sin, hover Lee Sin at the start, and then pick Nautilus.
This? Maybe we want it.
Yeah, so that was an antic I never actually saw really work out, but Liquid are going to go for some pretty safe picks. Braum has been the premier support. Corki has been honestly a first-round pick for a very long time because of its flexibility in the mid and bottom lanes. No surprises here.
Braum over the Alistar.
Yeah.
Alistar has gotten a lot of chipping away nerfs, so he's not quite as strong as he was earlier in the season. Also, people are really appreciating the power of Braum being able to block so many projectiles and also having tremendous pick potential with his stun.
And it does two good things as well. Again, Braum is great with a Kog'Maw, and he's great against a Sivir. Altec played Sivir yesterday to reasonable effect, but it just sucks losing Ricochet to a Braum shield. It really stymies her damage output. It makes her much more of just a utility bot. And yeah, the fact that Braum exists, honestly, hurts a lot of what NRG could do, because they're probably still going to play Sivir in this game. Based on the kind of champions they're hovering, and the fact they have a Nautilus, they're just going to pick Sivir in a suboptimal spot. I take it back. Actually, Kalista comes through after all, so not go for the Sivir. I recant what I just went for, but Kalista's still going to be a strong champion for Altec.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons they may have not gone for the Sivir is because of the Braum. But at the same time, Kalista is just a first pickable champion.
Absolutely.
It just wasn't first picked in this game. We'd actually kind of forgotten about it. A little surprised that Team Liquid didn't pick Kalista with Braum right away. But at the same time, everything that is picked before that makes sense. A power pick.
And especially if they want to play Kog'Maw, right? See what the comp is, waiting a little bit. They can still wait for last if they really, really want in this one. What is also interesting is that Nautilus and Trundle are flexes for top and support. We've also seen the occasional Nautilus mid, the occasional Trundle jungle, even Nautilus jungle theoretically. I mean, we'll see. I feel like even though GBM has the check mark for pocket picks, I expect him to still play a actual mage.
How many times in a row will Dardoch play Lee Sin? Probably until it loses.
Probably until it loses.
Had so much success on that since week 7. 4-1-9, 5-1-11, 3-0-8. His last 3 game scores on Lee.
Yeah, that is impressive. And it's against some of the best teams in North America. TSM and CLG, 2 of those opponents. 2 total deaths in 3 games, and a hell of a lot of kills and even more assists. Liquid rounding out the composition a bit more. Lucian, of course, in for Piglet. No huge surprise. Lucian, another great AD carry alongside Braum, even though he did take some minor nerfs. I believe 6.4 had the culling range nerf in it. I could be mistaken, but still happy to play the champion. Of course, landing phase is great. NRG going to make the last few choices. They are low on magic damage with this, though. Nautilus not the most threatening champion. On that regard, yes, Elise does some. I guess there's just enough that it matters now, but Zed the hover.
There's also the side benefit that if they put Trundle in the support role, he will still be able to shred whoever they really want to focus. So it makes damage diversity a little bit less of a concern.
Okay.
Zed!
Zed comes through. This is going to be super fun to watch. FeniX does get, actually does not get counterpick, of course. The Corki was shown.
I think Zed is really good into Corki.
I agree.
A lot of times, if you're going up against a mage, Zed like forces him in to a Seeker's Arm Guard start. There is no Seeker's Arm Guard for AD champions.
Not really, no.
Right? AD champions get the magic resist, mini item, and a hex drinker, but there's just nothing for armor. Right?
Yep.
So if Zed gets to a certain point, he would just kill FeniX over and over unless FeniX itemizes very defensively. Probably Health Crystal first going towards Fade. That's about as defensive as I think Corki's going to be willing to get.
Second item QSS, I think, is almost a definite certainty here in this one. Thinking about what top laner they want, they hovered Lulu, which would make sense. Tom Kent was a click as well, which is good against Zed. Gangplank was another option just to farm off against the Nautilus.
Yeah, and this is kind of calling back to why NRG was so set on first picking the Nautilus, is because we mentioned how Dardoch did well on Lee Sin. Lourlo's done even better on Nautilus. One single death in 3 games. Yeah, including that highlight where he just flashed on Darshan and blew him up essentially with a full tank Nautilus last game. Now,
he will make other people tanky.
A much smaller champion this time with Lulu.
This is roughly the largest scale you can go, from gigantic to tiny, from Nautilus to Lulu. Lourlo will hopefully do a good job in this one, but up against Impact, who's been still a premier top laner as far as North American players are concerned. Former world champion, of course, Impact back in Seed 3, SK Telecom T1. And we'll see what form he's in for this match here. NRG and Liquid only 1 game apart, but keep in mind, NRG in 7th place are also only 1 game apart. So these games continue to mean so very much every single time they hit the Rift here. NRG's last 2 games are against CLG and TSM themselves. Teams Liquid have already beaten, but tough opponents in themselves. So NRG hoping to get a win here as they play against the number 5, 4, and 3 teams in a row.
Yeah, pressure is on for NRG. They had an easier start to the year. They have been sliding as of late. It is kind of do or die for them with Echo Fox surging. If NRG falls completely out, they could find themselves even out of the playoffs. But if they take care of business, they have no one to blame but themselves.
And no one to blame but themselves. So we'll see just who can be blamed for this one. Going to tweet at NA eSports the hashtag NRG winner, hashtag TL win, for who's going to be the better playing team here in this one as we hit our match of the week. NRG and Liquid, 5th and 6th playoff considerations on the line. Absolutely the chance for seeding, the chance at getting away from that relegation zone, getting away from 7th. It's super important. These teams are neck and neck, and this game just means everything for these 2 squads.
And I'm looking forward to seeing GBM Zed. We talked about pocket picks, or at least Kobe and Dash did. Zed is not something that is been seen much this split. For sure. It's an older pick, maybe going back all the way to 2013, 2014 from when it was really popular in pro play. But in this particular matchup, I really like it against the Corki.
Definitely agree. So we'll see just how much GBM can do with this one. When we typically talk about NRG, we say, hey, this is the Impact and GBM show. They're the stars. Everyone else has to keep up with their level of performance. The last couple of weeks has not been quite as good for those 2, but if there's ever a time to say, hey, we're going to hard carry this team and keep it in the playoffs, this is GBM's game to do it.
Yeah, and one thing that I heard on the analyst desk earlier today was the fact that Impact actually isn't pulling his weight that much. It's all about how, yes, it was supposed to be the GBM and Impact show, and a lot of blame is fallen on to Moon and Altec for not really performing, and everyone's saying GBM is carrying this team. And Impact, he's relegated to playing tanks. However, as far as average gold at 10 minutes goes, Impact is the lowest top laner in all of North America. and that includes substitutes. So if you're just looking at the average, he is negative 250 gold at 10 minutes on average. Whether that's the team not giving him enough priority in lane swaps, or whether that's him not finding the right way to freeze lanes or fighting for his own farm, it's really hurting the team because he needs to be a force, and to be a force, he needs gold.
Let's see if he gets any of the gold right here as we get ourselves into the laning phase of Nautilus being late to the lane. He leashed 2 camps for Elise down to the bot side of the map. Lourlo's already in the lane, getting farm on this Lulu. Right. Impact is now walking into experience range this second.
He does a lot of this. He takes one for the team, so to speak. He gave Moon a slingshot forward in the jungle so Dardoch can't get ahead of him and snowball, but at the same time, it puts him behind in the 1v1.
KonKwon really far up for almost no reason. I'm not sure why he was hitting in the brush right there. Liquid in the obvious level 2. Altec had the good sense to stay away from Lucian Braum, who have a level lead. KonKwon's going to lose a potion for that.
Yeah, Piglet and Matt, very good at abusing that level 2 early on in the lane. Altec and KonKwon will have to be very passive. Trundle, I think, is a great team utility support. I think he's pretty good at lane swaps, but at level 1 in the lane, unless he's able to get up in bite range, he's not really able to add much.
Yeah, and even if he does try to bite onto Braum, he gets stunned right afterwards and loses the trade either way. There's not exactly a way for this duo of energy to get onto the Lucian in any meaningful sense, so.
Moon's trying to pay back that early pull.
The flash route onto Lourlo, who's now got nowhere to go. Moon says hello, and now he's trying to get the kill. Chasing him for the auto attacks. Red buff is on, says Lourlo gets him. Moon with a great first blood. What a good gank. Lourlo pushed in, punished by the roam down. Great play.
And this is exactly what NRG actually needs for their games to be successful. Dardoch had the edge in the jungle. That's the first blood Moon has been involved in all year for NRG. So it also will help Impact be ahead in that lane where he effectively gave Moon a faster jungle path so he could pay it off with a gank. Everything does finally go to plan for NRG, and they have a 200 gold lead early in the game.
The trickle-down economics of NRG here. Impact getting Moon rich, and getting him back for it. That Sentinel did not see anything, so Dardoch able to successfully counter jungle. Of course, when you spot the enemy jungler in the bot lane, you can count which buffs he's got. You know what's up on his side of the map. Easy blue buff, easy Braum. Smart play by Dardoch. And the general eventuality of just reacting properly.
Yeah, that would have been much more punishing if Moon's gank hadn't been successful. Then he would have been down in experience and gold. Now, Moon will just be a little bit behind in experience, but it was just the one camp counter jungle. Dardoch wasn't able to make it all the way in for the Wolf full counter jungle. Therefore, Moon is level 4, so is Dardoch. They're pretty happy with that.
And meanwhile, we can talk about what's happening in the mid lane here. It looks like actually FeniX has made the wave bounce back and be a potential freeze, which means GBM is shoving the wave as hard as he can to make that hit the turret, but FeniX manicuring the wave as best he can to make GBM have to play up in the lane, which allows him to be poked, and also means that any all-in attempts puts him underneath FeniX's turret. So the way that laning phase is played is actually going to be very important for this matchup. Once that hits 6, it gets scary, but until then, it's Corki's favor.
Exactly. Corki wins pretty much all matchups pre-6, and then he's usually able to shove in post-6. So the way that Zed comes back in this one is if he's able to start with a kill or 2 onto FeniX, and then chain the kills down. But as long as FeniX keeps the lane shoved, keeps a slight experience advantage, therefore will be leveling first, and also keeps his exhaust, he will not be in danger.
Yep. Definitely something to watch for. I want to see if GBM goes for an early QSS himself to get rid of the exhaust to make these all-ends work. Otherwise, it takes 2 ults to make the damage stick. Moon looking to the mid lane. FeniX actually very low on mana.
Yeah,
he poked so much, he doesn't have Valkyrie mana, I don't believe. Moon in spider form, no buffs on him, but GBM WE for the slow into the play. Still not going for it just yet. Moon's wasting a lot of time. FeniX is not going to push that much farther forward here.
There was the opportunity where FeniX was below 100 mana. Now he has Valkyrie mana.
Block 4, W burns, one more shot, and no, just jukes. A wildly missed cocoon. That was not good by Moon, but it still is the flash away from FeniX.
Yeah, so somewhat successful, but the time burned was enough for Dardoch to clear 2 camps. So the advantage that Moon had is pretty much gone unless he makes a return gank onto FeniX.
And you can see the fruits of Team Liquid's duo lane working quite well, and it's kind of fermenting here. You saw the pillar from KonKwon try to disengage Piglet to buy a bit of time, but it was just easy for the AD carry to get on. Piglet lands some attacks on the Trundle. Trundle loses more health, and KonKwon is sad that they lost the trade because they only can lose trades here in this matchup.
Yep, even with the 600 gold from the first blood, it's only a 150 gold lead about for Team Liquid because the lanes aren't necessarily all going their way. Advantages for mid and bot for Team Liquid, as well as Dardoch having a lot of extra gold. He's going to be able to delay that recall.
Dardoch is equal in gold despite being down 400 gold at first blood. Like that is what that lead is of how much he's farming more than Moon.
Yeah. Jungle CS number differences are worth more gold than CS number differences, just because jungle monsters are worth more.
They tend to be.
Level
Here
6
comes
league
the
on for
dive attempt. Exhaust on Altec. Here comes Lourlo into this one. There is teleport available on all sides, but look at the damage coming out.
Oh, no!
Not quite getting him. Impact anchors him in, but now Lourlo looking to trade kills around. One goes back as KonKwon squashes them under the turret. Teleport's traded.
If not for the exhaust of KonKwon, that would have been a crisp double kill under the turret, but the Lee Sin kick does less damage because Dardoch was exhausted when he used it, and the teleport's able to come in and save this. So it is a 4-man gank, and when that teleport comes in, a lot of teams would just back off, but Team Liquid decides to continue going all in, and Lourlo teleports in and runs so he can't ult himself or do anything to assist in that gank. Not the cleanest coordination, not communicating that he was I think they would have bailed on that one if they had known, but even so, they still get a 1-for-1.
A 1-for-1, a trade of a whole bunch of summoners. The mid laners just kind of stayed in the lane and did what they could. You're right, Jatt early Phage does come through for FeniX, so that, I believe it's 150 health for Phage. Is going to help him a little bit here. Yeah, I know, we both turned back and
you
looked.
Are correct.
It is 200. I take it back.
It's 15 attack damage though, so there is a
That was the 1-5. I forgot that they both get slightly stronger. Still, going to give him what durability he can to try to survive GBM, who has gone Hexdrinker first actually, so a more defensive option in trying to survive Corki. I'm actually a bit surprised that he didn't go for Serrated Dirk just for the pressure, but GBM maybe farming a little bit more overall in the landing phase, is now roaming up to the top side. Will walk through a pink ward while doing so, and that's going to make this gank harder to really work. And in fact, doesn't want to stay to get the 30 gold for killing it. We'll walk back down to mid lane to get the farm.
Corki shoves in so quickly, he can't afford to sit there for 5 auto attacks. Would not be worth the cost. Instead now, he gets back only missing a single minion from that wave.
Not too shabby. But now FeniX can roam. Packet is still on for 15 more seconds. Gets spotted by a Sentinel and says, well, you can see me running down here.
He can continue to threaten, right? Because it's a bit of a bait and switch too, because Dardoch's not there either.
Ulti pop by Impact. Q's gonna land. Does not go for the further route because getting locked under turrets. Not the funnest thing. Actually goes back in after all. Red buff is on. Knockout from Lulu. Kick into the wall. Q's gonna land. Dardoch and Lourlo playing it properly. They may not get questions right in duo Q, but they certainly get ganks together right.
Knowing your limits, Dardoch waited for some energy regen, waited for Impact to think he was safe, then chained the Q and his ultimate for some execute damage at the very end. Very clean gank there from Dardoch. Never overextending, not taking too much damage, and properly punishing Impact for not respecting the limits of Lee Sin.
It was honestly really a beautifully executed gank overall. Super strong by Dardoch, and Lourlo played the part right as well. Not over-aggressive, but stayed in range, didn't scare him away. Just a lot of really good things by that Liquid duo. However, the gold stays basically the same, 14.8 on both sides there. As kills trade back and forth, Energy feeling pretty good about their landing phases. We're seeing Kalista catch back up, and especially as Nautilus holding a nice lead even despite dying. Impact finally not getting crushed in gold in the matchup.
Impact will still scale up to be very big. Has not been able to make it to the Bomby Cinder quite yet, so he's not able to shove in as fast as most Nautiluses would like. Also, Lulu's not that favorable of a matchup for him. It's not like he has kill pressure on Lulu. Lulu can very easily shield the slow damage that comes out from Nautilus.
Right.
Much unlike the Yasuo Nautilus matchup we saw yesterday. Basically, Nautilus stands next to him if he gets a little bit of a lead, and Yasuo can't return the damage in time.
Oddly enough, Nautilus not requiring a lot of mechanics to do well in League of Legends.
You gotta land that skill shot.
You gotta land some skill shots. Lourlo doesn't think he lands them very easily, but Dardoch believes in him. Now again, the knockout coming through, and they're gonna land the stun into KonKwon, who gets Fates called right out. He says, wrong number, guys. Trundle is not the target, but goes back in, which means the culling hits him a bit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Decent trades back and forth right there. No major item advantages. I'd say Piglet is ahead in items because of the BF sword. Double summoners up on FeniX. Let's see.
What? Whoa. Oh, okay, to be fair, he tried to predict Valkyrie.
But even if he properly predicts the Valkyrie is still going to complete, and he will be safe. So I give that KonKwon D-.
D-
for his overall grade. He still used it, so he didn't fail. He still tried.
He did try. Well, unfortunately, Moon's gank's waning ever since the first blood. See if he can get some more out of this one. By the way, the mechanics thing was a pun. I wasn't really trying to make fun of Nautilus. Like, his skill required. You know, he's made of metal. It wasn't a good joke. We're gonna move on. But I just wanted to let you know I wasn't trying to diss on impact skill.
Gotcha.
That was also a D-. Thank you, audience.
D-.
That was a D- pun.
How bad does one have to be to fail a pun? It's like, well, technically, we're trying to play on words. You never know.
Woo, the double kill on the Sentinels. Piglet knocking down the enemies of the X-Men. And now running away as Matt gets a pillar to the face and then, well, you know what? I was born around the ice. That pillar doesn't really do very much for me. Now Moon finding him, puts KonKwon in his face, repels the chair, and he's going to be just fine now. Matt walking back into the brush. Tanks a Ren, doesn't carry too much. Dardoch kills away a pink ward, says, if I can't see, neither can you. And the vision is gone.
Yeah, and still a very close game as well, developing here 13 minutes in. Thinking of the team compositions, there's low tank ability on Team Liquid, depending on how much farm Matt is able to get with his Relic Shield stacks. But at the same time, NRG doesn't have a very high damage team. Zed, single target assassination. Kalista, not the highest damage AD carry. Very good at chasing people down and can be very snowbally, but not the most damage. So
getting rid of targets will be hard because Matt, of course, can block to make sure the right melee doesn't get killed. You have the Lulu wild growth to stop the Zed kills. The properly played team fight, I feel like, does look quite good for Liquid here. But we'll see as NRG crests into the mid game. The gold is staying close to equal. Dardoch!
Oh!
Yeah, I would have landed that Q.
This is when someone goes and bumps Dardoch's tweet from 3 months ago. This is your daily reminder. I'm the cleanest non-import Lee Sin in North America, as he misses a Q on the Scuttle Crab.
Yep. Hey man, we all know Scuttle Crab is...
It's better juking than many players, I'll have to say.
Yeah, I think I made the joke with Zyrene that like Scuttle Crab would be roughly Challenger, just based on its mechanics. Just does not get hit by anything. I really wish I could just have like Scuttle Crab scripts, just so I could never get killed.
Just like, please randomize my movement.
Yeah, please properly randomize. Yeah, my did you know for this one is when we played the Black Market Brawler Show match, Riv watched a bunch of games from my stream to figure out which way I juke thresh hooks, and then landed every thresh hook in the laning phase.
He destroyed you.
He wrecked me in the laning phase. He did his research and it paid off. I am not random. Team Liquid, though, pushing out of the bot lane. Dardoch comes back to the scene of the crime. Bot lane is going to go down. Liquid continue to earn advantage with their dual lane. 15 CS lead right now for Piglet, shoving this wave in. That has been a nice battering ram for Liquid. He stays on that side and does well. Lourlo, though, realizing that he is alone on this side of the map, trying to dodge KonKwon, and just he keeps waiting and finally dodges it. 4 jukes later, GBM shows up and says, you are so very dead. Death mark not required. NRG up and kills.
Yep, good patience there by Moon, and then he still was able to land the KonKwon. The final one may have been able to be juked. Then nice ultimate coming in. Teleport from Nautilus, though, to try and force another fight.
Power play coming in. The flash ulti in onto FeniX. No death mark available. Piglet juking away. Anchor's not going to land, but the KonKwon sure will. Moon getting every kill for his team. 2-0-1. That's twice in a row he's landed a clutch KonKwon. Fate's call comes in for the Trundle onto the Piglet. He's running for his life. He can't quite die. And exhausted the Moon repels to stay alive. He's playing this one quite nicely. Altec back in, puts plenty of damage through. GBM! Oh my God! It's a double! He can't quite get the third, but that was absolutely huge for NRG.
Madness right there is what it is. GBM flashed in at the very end. So many people were at very low amounts of health. But surprisingly, until this turret falls, the gold is still really close because of all the farm and push that happened bottom lane before any of this chaos happened.
This is the energy I think fans were hoping to see from these guys. Moon stepping up this game, 2-0-3. The ganks are coming in, the roams are coming in. We can watch this again.
Yeah, they had a big numbers advantage at the start of this one, and Impact does miss his dredge line, but the KonKwon lands on a Dardoch. And you think the fight's pretty much over at this point, but they keep taking turret aggro a little bit too much, but then when they go back in is the big jump right there. And Team Liquid tries to push mid, but but it gets a little turned down.
Yeah. Corki package came in. I believe he actually ran past the turret and then packaged back into the team. This is actually, FeniX is some of the best package plays I've actually ever seen. He will go over the wall and Valkyrie diagonally into his team from behind the turret to create a zone that says you can't defend this. I haven't seen any other player do that. FeniX, I really do like the way he plays his Corki. I think he's learned the passive usage very well, and again, better than most players I've seen. So a big fan of this pickup for Liquid. Looking for another play there. A nice pick off the ward hop, but Dardoch realizes that he is pretty low on this one, taking plenty of damage out of this Trundle and the Kalista, but it's really Impact who seems to be separated. Stuck under his turret, but there's no minion way to tank the damage. Just a poke onto the minions, and Liquid will disengage.
Very awkwardly positioned fight, and actually NRG is trying to delay recall since there is a Zed split pushing in the bottom for GBM. And Team Liquid is quite low. Yeah, they don't need to interrupt too many recalls because they've already bought enough time to get the turret.
But still a nice cheeky play. NRG buying enough time from the dive, not really losing much, and it does mean GBM gets multiple waves of farm and the bot lane outer turret, their second of the game, which now means 1,500 gold lead for NRG. This is one of the worst early game teams. Moon had never gotten a first blood for his team in 13 or more games. Actually, at this point, 15 games. This is 16th with the team.
Yeah.
And finally, an early game lead. Moon's doing well. He's playing aggressively, and it's working. Impact has money. All of the things are breaking apart, and NRG just action regenerating here.
Absolutely. 6,200 gold on the Nautilus compared to 5,600 gold on Lourlo's Lulu. So top lane edge there, and he will be tanking up quite substantially. Nautilus gets very, very big, as Lourlo would know with his 3 straight wins on a Nautilus and only 1 death across the 3 games. But tables have turned with the first pick Nautilus there. And at the moment, GBM's at a very bursty state for Zed. People don't have the natural health or armor growth yet. The Maw of Malmortius gives him a decent amount of flat penetration. He may actually be going Titanic Hydra based on the health crystal. I
think it really depends. So there's multiple ways this works. T-Map by itself is a burst item. It's 30 attack damage and an active for another 1 total attack damage trigger.
Yep.
So it's just a spell. It's just a physical damage spell.
It's another spell to use within the Deathmark combo, so it's great for that sense.
And he could just be going Black Cleaver next. Or you're right, it could just be Titanic Hydra. And you know, we have to see what it's going for. We haven't seen Zed in a very long time, but we'll see what GBM wants to do with this one. It's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, the more I look at the item, the more I feel like Titanic Hydra is just overpowered because of how much damage its attack reset does. Even if you're not stacking health, it feels like it does a whole bunch of damage. Anyway, NRG going down for that dragon.
That dragon's going to die pretty quickly. Blue team has slain it. Moon securing that one quite nicely. TB coming in from Impact. Altec a bit separated. They dive in for the Kalista, and he's going to drop down rather quickly. 5v4 as Lourlo rejoins the fight. The knockup lands barely on a KonKwon. Matt says thank you very much. And in goes Dardoch. Gets cocooned. Gets Deathmark. He will die for this. Exhaust is on. Still going to drop. GBM kills him for pushing too hard. KonKwon will die.
Dardoch got greedy. Have they gotten damage on him in the last 15 seconds?
I think they have.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, he's trying to delay, but I think
Piglet marked him.
It's been a while.
Oh, yeah, wow, really? I did not expect that at all, but you're right, it's an execute, so no gold goes over. I think Piglet was at XP range, so partial credit to him. But what a great escape by KonKwon. Dardoch greeted for an extra kill and could have just made sure that Trundle died.
Exactly. Dardoch was going for the home run, but he forgot to touch first base when he was running around, so it's disqualified. I think that's a bad analogy, but technically if you hit a home run and you don't touch the bags, they might void it in like Little League or something, so.
D- reference, Jatt.
We'll see. I give out the grades. Anyway,
Professor Kobe gives out the grades, Jatt.
And it started out quite well because they kill Altec straight off, and at this point, NRG just has to run away. Gets the very end of the knockup, and at this point, they can get the 2 for 0 very easily. But Dardoch thinks, okay, he's dead. It's fine. They can chase him down with Lulu. They could have chased him down with Lulu. Lourlo could have sped someone up, so there's multiple ways they could have stopped that. Or Lourlo could have stayed with Dardoch to make it so Deathmark didn't kill him. But instead, Lourlo recalls because he wanted to stop the push in the top lane.
Yeah, and didn't get another Whimsy off onto Piglet or something to give him the move speed to get in there. So lots of unfortunate choices. This is where you say unlucky in all chat and move on with your life. Liquid could hopefully stay focused here. They've come back from huge deficits before. The big one I note is their catastrophic early game against the Echo Fox sub-squad back in like week 4. And they were able to bounce back from that one. Dardoch yesterday said his shot calling's gotten a lot better. He says, I'm learning to stay vocal even when I'm behind. And like 1 and 2 versus a 2 and 0 Elise. He's behind, but
yeah,
Liquid can definitely stay in this one. NRG though, if they keep the pressure, should feel good.
No, and GBM's getting quite strong on Zed, so if the game stays kind of chaotic and skirmishy like this, with people isolating themselves, it's going to be very...
Oh, Impact misses the anchor toss. It's going to mean a knockup, and a lot of damage now on Dardoch, running away, gets the wild growth, goes with damage he can. A huge knockup out of Matt's ulti, but he just dies for it. Liquid defending basically a 3 versus 5. The re-engage comes in, plenty of damage. Here. Impact goes down alongside KonKwon, and Altec's next summoner heal for Piglet gets the kill. That's 3 in a row. One more is gonna do it for Moon as he runs. Leeson Q land. Autos for NRG. Chases back in with the resonating strike, but will he chase into what could be a Zed in the brush? No.
Yeah, well, no, Zed is all the way over in the other lane. He's been split pushing bottom this whole time, whereas Team Liquid is able to force pretty hard as NRG was trying to get more kills. Moon's still here to try and poke. Zed slowly running over, but this Baron may be going down in time. I'm really surprised GBM didn't finish that split push.
NRG's already taken plenty of steals this season. Elise has Smite, and Moon is a superhero! GBM with the shutdown. He wants more. Can he find another kill? It's already 1 for 1 with Baron to NRG, and that was catastrophic as now FeniX is dead next, and Matt is in the sights. There's the anchor, here's the damage, a triple kill for GBM, and the hopes of Liquid have just shattered.
Oh boy, this game is definitely entertaining right there. The 1v3 steal by Moon right there, and technically there was a time pressure on the Baron by Team Liquid because GBM had decided to come back down for the fight. I didn't think he'd ever make it before the Baron would go down, which was true, but it did create that time pressure that allowed Moon to steal a Baron. That is the 3rd or 4th Baron steal NRG has had this year, and then because of the triple kill picked up afterwards, because they get Baron-empowered minions, they can make a pretty big push and extend the gold lead. Look at that Baron power play.
Yeah, well, Kobe put a bunch of check marks down for pocket picks, objective control. I'm going to give him pluses for that one because it just came true for so many of these.
Very true. That is such a weird series of events that just happened right there. So we're going to fast forward a little bit from the replay to the Baron. It's down to 1,000 health. Dardoch was knocked up by the Baron, so he's unable to chain his Q with his smite. So Moon just executes it from 1,000. Then GBM comes in when everyone is super low, so they just have to bail out. He had his Ignite that whole time. If he would have popped his Ignite on Dardoch, he would have killed him as well, because he doesn't need it for this teleport flank when Impact comes in. CC's down. FeniX gets the roots on a Matt. There is no retreat from there. Could have actually been a quadra kill from GBM. Yeah. 7-1, Titanic Hydra, Zed.
Titanic Hydra it is, and then another Jarm's Fist picked up. So
maybe go Sterix?
Sterix is the only other thing that builds it. No, it does. I'm just forgetting that item. Mallet. It's not Black Cleaver.
Frozen Mallet goes from Jarm's Fist as well. But I don't think we'll see a Frozen Mallet Zed.
I don't expect it, but who knows? Those are the basic options here. And now we'll see what's next up. Of course, BF Sword's on there, which feels nice, and he's got attack damage. Sitting in the bot lane with a Baron buff. Not everyone on NRG has it, I believe. Some were still dead when that Baron was smited away by Moon.
Yeah, that was so close to being Team Liquid's window back into the game, but it just backfired on them really heavily. They could have just had the team fight when it backed away. They go for the Baron. I do like the Baron call. I just don't like how the higher health members of Team Liquid weren't actively zoning away the Elise. Yeah, I think they need to just turn the Elise itself and say, you know what, we're getting a +1 kill for this, because 50-50 Baron is a huge risk to make. Moon out smiting Dardoch, well played by him. And now the 5,000 gold Baron power play, thanks to all the kills they got after that one, can feel good. Matt actually locked against the wall. Nice pillar there by KonKwon, but just means the W burned. Wave clear back and forth. Dragon back on the map would be NRG's second, as they continue their split push for now, though they want building damage more than neutral objectives. 3-kill lead, 9,000 gold, though the advantage is quite huge. Going for a fight.
Engage comes in, doesn't land much. Matt's ulti. Another pillar comes in. Matt taking plenty of damage on that Braum shield, but will survive for now.
Yeah, as of now, Team Liquid just doesn't have the itemization to cut through Impact's Nautilus, and is just giving NRG a lot of freedom with where they go. That was a forced initiation by Team Liquid, where GBM wasn't even close to the fight, but they barely dent anyone on NRG because they just can't follow through with damage.
Really beautiful stuff then by NRG, just playing these fights quite well, and GBM has been able to split push and play so effectively in his own right. Piglet is still huge, 4-1-3. kind of on 3 items of the Quick Silver Sash to keep him alive against this Zed. We have the finished Mercurial Scimitar from FeniX as well, and honestly, it's now, what, a good 2,600 gold spent by Liquid's members on anti-Zed ulti items.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a ton of magic damage against them in the general sense, so a lot of those stats go to waste. It's just to cleanse away that ulti. And then we'll just see him kill Lucian or something.
Yeah, well, also the fact that at a certain point when Zed is 3,000 gold ahead of everyone else in the game, it doesn't matter if you can QSS the death mark. He's going to kill you with his physical damage before the death mark would even proc. 2,500 gold ahead of FeniX, 2,000 gold ahead of Piglet.
GBM definitely huge in this one. KonKwon continuing to do a good job of getting his stacks in. You can see him hitting a lot of that wave, and 3 stacks used there, getting his money up. And as Trundle, it's a pretty big deal. It doesn't have a shield like Braum to make up for a lack of stats, so he's actually quite durable, going towards what I guess could be either a Frozen Heart or Zeke's for Altec, but that is going to be a very hard to kill Trundle. And as Piglet holds most of the gold on the team, the tankier the tanks get, the harder Piglet's job gets.
Yeah, he technically has the Lulu to empower him, but Lourlo very far away from a death cap. The raw AP on Lulu is very important when you're trying to buff up an AD carry. But at the same time, I mean, like you said, Piglet's very far away from his full, really scary items on Lucian. And NRG's going to continue to set this up. Round 2 of their 4-1 split push. Maybe they just wait for the next Baron to go down. Let's see.
Definitely taking their time. NRG don't have to rush this, honestly. They can play it pretty conveniently. 9,000 gold at 28 minutes in. That lead has stayed, and that anchor on a FeniX, who was able to QSS and jump away with Valkyrie. Matt holding the front line, big knock up through. The double take for NRG, they're not taking any damage. And with QSS down, he goes right on to FeniX, who stays alive. But Matt is dead. They trade back on Impact. 2 for 1. Now the advantage. Mid turret's gone as well. It's a 4 versus 3. Dardoch is going to burn to death and goes down to Altec's red buff. A double kill for him. 3-1 plus a turret. Advantage NRG.
Yeah, it all started because FeniX was hooked by the dredge line, so they felt safe going in because FeniX wasn't immediately apparent in that team fight. But at the same time, that fight ended up being quite close. GBM got exhausted and polymorphed, so when he flew into the middle of the team, he really couldn't get that much of his damage off. And Team Liquid came sneakily close to turning this one around. Watching it again, FeniX path a little too close, immediately uses his Mercurial to get out of the route, but the Nautilus Assault still knocks him up. And then a 4-man Braum ultimate also delays the dive. See a nice exhaustion polymorph on GBN when he goes in, and a couple things here. At this point, it looked like Piglet may have had a chance to turn something around because everyone was very low, but people flash back on Dardoch very well, trigger him out with what was probably a red buff dot.
It was.
From Altec. Changes that to a 4 for 2 now that Baron is respawning.
All right, so 14 kills to 9. Baron back up on the field. That would be NRG's second. Deservedly or not, they stole one away from Team Liquid that you'd think they had earned off a team fight, but NRG with some great smites out of Moon, 3, 1, and 9. 12 out of 14 KP, definitely quite solid as GBM jumps into the Baron pit. Uses his Titanic Hydra properly. It would splash on the Baron and pull aggro, so he attacks it from the right side. Actually, literally the left or bottom side to make sure it, you know, triggers outside the pit, but the correct side. Anchor toss lands again. The dredge line forcing FeniX to get away with package. Didn't have to use it. He was pretty safe, but that is now the Corki passive gone for 5 minutes until it comes back in the base, and Liquid might not have that long to even survive. Would have
been pretty nice to have that available, at least to use over top of the Baron pit, while at least he was able to hold on to the package. Matt, though,
what a cocoon. Matt is going to be going down, I assume, when this one. Deathmark is on. That's going to be enough damage. It spins, and it kills him. GBM unstoppable now. Huge on this Zed.
Yeah, Zed ultimate down. He doesn't have much lifesteal to come back here. He does have
the Stirrups
Wrath Elixir. Oh, they're going to...
Missile misses, which means FeniX has got QSS. Doesn't matter. Beautiful positioning, NRG. Getting outside that corner of the brush, baits in Corki, now's the Baron. Dardoch, I don't think he has it.
Yep, FeniX tried to scout with the missile. NRG, all as just a full unit, sidestepped it. For a team that has been looking very out of sync, NRG has looked remarkably in sync this game. A lot of it starts from the early ganks all the way back to level 1 when Moon got it going, and then GBM has putting his carry pants on yet again.
Yes,
something he was doing very well early in the season, but because he's had a little bit of supporting cast this time, he's able to shine so much brighter.
Yeah, there's really no one you can complain about on this NRG roster. Moon's ganks have been on point. Impact had a good early laning phase. The hard leash he gave for Elise ended up working out for him. KonKwon's been honestly pretty solid. Low deaths, plenty of gold, and the Frozen Heart now in. Max CDR even. Actually, more than max CDR on this Trundle.
Yeah.
He's got 50% from items.
Yes, he does. The cooldown boots are unnecessary at this point.
I'm wrong. Equinox doesn't have CDR on it. I'm silly. I take it back. 40 from items.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the other two that have it. The yellow one and the blue one have 10.
Phreak, you have misled me.
I'm
Anyways,
really sorry.
12,000 gold lead. Team Liquid will be very hard pressed to stop this explosion inhibitor from going down, but I still think they're going to try and hold at the outers. That's why Zed is split pushing right now.
Split pushing into FeniX's Corki. Deathmark pops, doesn't kill him. Exhaust is on, but GBM just takes the R back out. A wasted summoner spells. He knocks down this turret. Sterix giving him plenty of attack damage, and down goes bottom outer. NRG pushing in, trying to take this one out, and they've got a real good chance to. Baron buff is on. 2 inhibitors dead. Gigantic wave in the top side to collect up and knock that one down as well. Liquid just licking their wounds, trying to find the way back in, but they just don't have quite the dynamism required to pick people off.
No, definitely not. Piglet, even with his large CS advantage over Altec, just can't get into the Trundle and the Nautilus when you have the threat of GBM from the back, who's basically been like a bruiser Zed, so to speak. He still has a large amount of AD, but with a Titanic, a Sterix, a Dead Man's Plate, he's sitting at, how much health is that? It's going to be 3,130 health, 140 armor, and 114 MR. But he still has 381 attack damage.
Yeah.
So,
well, Zed's W helps with that one. 25% bonus of whatever his total AD was before then. And that's going to be a nice addition for him. So, yeah, just a lot of multiplication there. And GBM going to feel good on this Zed walking into the mid lane. Top inhibitor is still alive. Dragon number 3 is on, but NRG don't need to care about that. This should be a game-winning push for them. Right here, right now. Matsulti comes in. They go for the engage. Then here comes the death mark onto Piglet, who QSS's out, and he stays alive. The turret is dead, though, and FeniX is stuck in the front lines, flashing to stay alive, and they're going to get GBM. That's a big kill, but Kalista trades one back. It's another one. A double for Altec. Make that another one in for Moon. 3 kills for 1, and they're just slaughtering Liquid now. NRG finally in sync, as you said, Jatt, and they say bye, bye, bye to Liquid. They've got nothing else to do in this one. 34 minutes, 15 seconds. Turrets going down. NRG, just when they looked their worst, come in and slaughter Liquid to take down a game and get the records back to tied.
Yeah, what a surprising game here. All the trends we were looking at coming towards this was NRG falling down. Would Echo Fox pass them in the standings? Yet here we are. NRG just tied Team Liquid in the standings, so they are now tied for 5th and are much closer to securing themselves a playoff spot. Such an important win for NRG. It was do or die. They hadn't been playing well in the early game. Moon had not been able to get a first blood. All of that changed.
Yeah.
Moon started well early. GBM pulled out yet another pocket pick. Zed was extremely effective with this non-standard Zed build as well. Altec is back with the team. Things are finally looking up for NRG.
And that means, as we talked about, they tie with Liquid in 5th. Both of them 8 wins, 8 losses. That means NRG now 1 win behind TSM. By the way, they play them next week. 2 wins behind CLG. Of course, CLG still has some games to play, but those are the teams that they will battle. There is an outside chance they can even reach as high as 3rd, as unlikely as that might be for NRG, but they can reach 4th, battling TSM for that spot. That is within the realms here. And of course, those are teams that Liquid had just beaten. NRG can beat Liquid. It just depends on what form this team is in.
Yeah.
Right? First 15 games Moon versus this game Moon are wildly different players. And NRG wins when you get that one.
Just when we think we're starting to figure things out.
I know.
These games can swing in different directions. I'm really looking forward to playoffs where we get to see best of 5s instead of these one-game glimpses into teams' lives and trends.